You go through one corruption of a memory card and it makes every video that you film after that so scary to film. Anyways, I'm really excited to be able to finally film this video for you guys. I know this is long overdue, but I finally was able to sit down last night and make all my notes for this video to kind of organize it in a way to be the most helpful and to the point for you guys. So first off, I want to start this video by saying if you have any questions or anything about this stuff, make sure to always ask your pediatrician just to double check everything. Each pediatrician I've noticed will recommend different things, and you always want to talk to yours personally first, because I am not a doctor or anything. These are just things that I've experienced and I've learned with having Riley. And I remember being a first-time mom, or I'm still the first-time mom, but it's so scary because there's no classes on this stuff. Like, there's no going to school for it. You are just kind of thrown right into it. You're like, oh my God, well, what do I do? So this is stuff I have learned. I've had a lot of mom friends that are really helpful. My pediatrician has been helpful, and I read a lot online too. So I hope that what I'm gonna give you today is going to be helpful for you guys on preparing to transition your child to solids. So we're gonna start off with the signs that they're ready for solids. So this is like the big question is, the doctors say you can start solids anytime between 4 to 6 months. I know a lot of pediatricians will actually say, like, you know, wait 6 months, especially if you're breastfeeding, because you want them to get all the nutrients from breastfeeding. But if they're formula, feel free to start them a little bit earlier. So it really goes off of what you feel most comfortable with. We started at 5.5 months because that's when I felt like Riley was ready for solids. And a few signs to tell that they're ready for solids, such as purees, would be when they're holding their head up on their own and holding it up really well. That's a really good sign right there. When they're starting to show interest in the food, when they're like starting to lunge and open up their mouth when they see food, that's showing an interest in it. So that's another key sign that they're ready for solids. So anywhere for purees, 4 to 6 months. And then I'm actually gonna go into a whole section on baby-led weaning here shortly. So I will talk about the readiness for that. But for purees, anytime between 4 to 6 months when you feel comfortable and when you feel like your child is ready. So now into what foods should you start with. So there's actually no evidence that shows that starting vegetables before fruit will make the child prefer the veggies over the fruit. Because honestly, when they get a taste of that sweet stuff, that is what they're gonna want. You can't avoid that no matter what. So it really doesn't matter which one you introduce first, but for us, we introduced butternut squash. I actually made it in a baby food maker, and I made my own puree of it, because you wanna start off with one ingredient foods, and you wanna make sure that they have no allergies to it before moving on to the next. A few of the reactions to look out for is diarrhea, rash, vomiting, or if you could tell that they're having problems breathing, you wanna get them to the doctors ASAP. But those are the reactions that you want to look out for. And then when you see that they are clear of those reactions for like a day or two, they're not getting any with that ingredient, then you can move on to something else. So we started off with butternut squash. You can also do purees of peas. You can do carrots. You can do purees of apples, like you know, applesauce, but make your own puree so it's not full of all that sugar. You can do just so much. And then also, especially if you are breastfeeding, you want to make sure that you are doing some high in iron foods such as meats, because they're not getting that iron in the breast milk, so their iron levels can drop. So the doctors will actually be doing a blood test to check their iron levels to make sure they're getting enough iron. If they're formula fed, they're most likely definitely getting enough iron because they are getting iron in the formula. So just as a heads up there, so if you are breastfeeding, you want to do a little bit more meats or food that has iron in it. Also, one food to stay away from is honey. Do not give honey to a child before its first birthday, because it can cause botulism, because it is raw and it can create a bacteria in them. So honey is a no-go. You will even see it on all the packaging for honey. It will say do not feed to any children under 1. So stay away from honey. Also, make sure that when you do introduce eggs, you introduce them separately, because they are 2 different types of proteins. So the yolk and the whites are 2 different kinds of proteins, so you want to introduce them separately. So you can separate the yolk, give them whites, give them scrambled whites, have them eat that. That's also a really good intro to baby-led weaning. And then you can separate the yolks and try the yolks on a different day and see how they react to that. And then if they react great with them, you can start mixing them together and they're good. Once you know that 2 ingredients that work well, like let's say if they do really well with banana and they do really well with apple or avocado, you can start mixing them together and you can create like little mixes to them, but just always start off with that one ingredient first to make sure that they are in the clear and they don't have a reaction before moving on to something else or mixing it in with anything else. All right, so I've had a lot of people DM me and ask me how I was making my own baby food. Honestly, I am going to be real with you. It is a chore to make your own baby food. If you have a really hectic lifestyle and you're like working a lot, don't feel bad about not making your own baby food. It's okay. It's time consuming, it is. But if you are set on making your own baby food, there's some really good baby food makers out there that steam them and puree them for you. I use the Baby Brezza, which the Baby Brezza one, which is a glass, it is $98 that you can get. I'll have everything linked down below for you guys. Two other good ones that are, one of them that's really popular is the Biba Baby Cook 4-in-1 Pro. That one is $150, and then there's also a Cuisinart BFM 1000. I'll have all these linked to Amazon, and that one is $120. What's cool about the Cuisinart one is that it actually is a bottle warmer as well, so you can get like a double uses out of it, which is great. I used mine a little bit in the beginning. Like I did it for apples, I did carrots, I did butternut squash, I did sweet potato. But it got to the point where I was just like, oh my gosh, I just don't have that much time to be able to put into this stuff as much anymore. So I actually started buying the ones off the shelves. And you know what? It's okay. Don't let anyone mom guilt you. It's okay. The stuff is just fine. Some brands that I really, really liked were the Earth's Best and the Happy Baby Organic. Those two were my absolute favorites. They have a lot of single ingredients for stage 1, and then you can go to stage 2, and then you can go to Happy Tots later on. But those ones, they work out great too. So if you don't have the time to be able to make your own baby food, it's okay. Check those ones out. I think they're great. They worked well for Riley. Now getting into baby-led weaning. So this is one that I've had so many questions about. Like even before I was introducing solids to Rye, everyone asked me if I was gonna do baby-led weaning. So I love baby-led weaning, but I say definitely wait until they're older. We waited until about 7 months before I started really giving Riley finger foods. I just did not feel like she was ready at 6 months. They say that they could be ready anywhere between 5.5 to 8 months, depending on the readiness. I just went off of my mom gut, and I could tell that she was ready at 7 months. So you definitely want to wait a little bit longer for baby-led weaning. I definitely do not suggest doing it at 4 months. I just don't feel like many babies are ready at that time, but it's your personal preference. So basically what baby-led weaning is, I'm gonna read it off of here so I get everything completely accurate. It says that it's an approach to introducing solids where baby is allowed and encouraged to self-feed solid finger foods instead of receiving purees via a spoon, so they can feed themselves. That's one reason why I really, really loved it, was because Joel and I, every single dinner that we're both home, we are sitting down at that dinner table. We never eat anywhere else in the house besides that dinner table every single night, and we eat dinner at between 5 to 5:30. And Riley is in her high chair next to us, like right in between us, eating her food. And it was so nice when she started feeding herself, because we got to really enjoy dinner as like a family instead of me having to feed her or Joel having to feed her while one of us is trying to eat really quickly. So it was really nice when that time came, because it kind of made family dinners run a little bit more just relaxing. And that's why, another reason why I really love our Orabelle high chair, because Riley, it takes them a while to be able to tilt back their milk to have their milk. And that chair reclines back, so you can recline them back and it'll be easier for them to have their bottle. In our Four Moms high chair, it didn't do that. So we always had her like in a boppy lounger on the ground in between us having her milk. So highly recommend the Orabelle high chair. I will have that one linked down below. It is amazing. I have it, my sister has it, I have a few friends that have it. It's the best high chair, hands down. But anyways, getting back into baby-led weaning. So a baby is given the freedom to explore new tastes and textures without the pressure to eat a set amount of specific food. So they are given a lot more independence when it comes to their food. They learn to self-regulate and manage how much they're going to intake, and to learn when they are full, which is really good. So a few readiness signs to look out for when you want to do baby-led weaning is you want to make sure that they sit up well without support. So if they're like falling down to the side and stuff like that, they're not ready. Wait till they can hold themselves up with support, which Riley didn't start doing that until 7 months. And then they lose that tongue thrust reflex. That is when they like instantly push food out with their tongue. When they lose that, they're ready, that means that they're gonna bring the food in, learn to chew and swallow. And when they develop fine motor skills to self-feed, like pincer grasp, which can be anywhere between 6 months to a year, Riley was always a little bit slower when it came down to holding herself up, holding her head up, walking. She took a little bit longer with that. But when it came down to her pincer grasp and her fine motor skills, she's been super advanced in. This girl was putting her own pasty in her mouth by 4 months. So she really did well with that, and that's another reason why I love baby-led weaning, because it teaches them the coordination to pick up the food, grasp it with that pincer grasp, and bring it to their mouth themselves and get it into their mouth. And I think that's why she was also able to use a fork so early on, was because I just let her feed herself. And I also love the fact that they get to feel the textures of the food, they get to explore it, and they just realize what they're eating, you know? Like, they just get to be a part of it more. And that's another reason why I really love baby-led weaning as well. A lot of parents that I talk to don't like it, or my parents were like, why are you letting her do this? She's gonna be so filthy after it. And they're like, oh, I don't wanna clean up the mess. And I'm just like, I don't care. I will clean up the mess, but you know what? This is allowing her to work on her skills, allowing her to explore and be independent. And that's what I want to promote. So that's why I'm really big on that. But just do it when they're ready. And then willing to chew. So they don't have to have teeth to be ready for baby-led weaning. Their gums are so strong that they are totally fine. Don't worry about them if they don't have any teeth, because Riley did not get her first tooth until 10 months, you guys. And that thing, it's still not fully out, and she's 15 months. So don't worry about teeth. Their gums are really strong to be able to get through the food. And also, of course, when they start showing interest in food. Like I said with the first one, if they're seeing food go to your mouth and they're going like, ah. Have you guys ever seen the video with the baby and the burrito? Hilarious. Really, when you start seeing them do that, you know they're ready for foods, so you can start introducing solids then. Going into the benefits of baby-led weaning, this is kind of what I've already touched on, but I have my little list here. So one thing is it's less time consuming. The baby eats what you eat, which is really nice. Like I said, Riley eats what we eat for dinner every night. If I do notice there's something, like say if it's a recipe that has honey in it before she was 1 year, I would make her her own food, and that's what would happen. Or if I know the dish is gonna be a little too spicy for her, then I won't give it to her. I'll just give her something else, and I'll have my backup plans, which are usually like a sweet potato cake. I'll do mac and cheese, and I'll steam broccoli, and I'll mix that up into it, so that way she's getting a good helping of greens. That's another thing, is if they're picky, mix in the veggies with something that they like. Then it kind of masks the taste. They have no idea they're eating it. One of her favorite dishes right now is rice, black beans, and chicken. She devours it like crazy. She loves that right now. So I'll just basically make her something on the side if she can't have what we're eating. But when they are baby-led weaning, they get to have a little bit of what you eat, so it's less time consuming, and you're not having to prepare too many meals at once. And the second benefit to it is what I said earlier, is that the parents and the baby get to eat together, and it gives you such more of a relaxing dinner time. And again, I know they're gonna be messy. There's a splat mat that you can actually buy to put underneath the high chair that actually saves our rug for anything that she drops down. The dogs pick everything up though. But I will link down below a splat mat that you guys can get, but it's great to protect your rugs or your floor, your carpet, whatever you have. But it's nice to be able to have us all be able to relax and eat together, and us not like trying to feed and trying to eat really quickly. It just creates a lot easier going of a dinner time, a more enjoyable dinner time. Number 3 is also what I said, self-regulate and self-select to support a healthy weight. So they are learning and managing how much they eat. They know when they're full. They're doing it. They're becoming independent. So that's another good positive. Number 4 is the freedom to choose what they eat. So give them options. Don't just say, oh, my child is so picky. Just, they want to explore. They need to try different options. So let's say if they don't like something, okay, if you don't like that, let's try something else, then that's not what you're in the mood for. And just kind of give them the freedom to explore their taste buds and fun stuff like that. So number 5 is boost hand-eye coordination, what I said. Picking up the food and bringing it to their mouth is building that coordination, and that's what it really helps them work on. Also the pincer grasp, trying to pick up the food and bring it to their mouth, it really helps them develop that skill too. So there's a lot of benefits to baby-led weaning. Some foods to start with when baby-led weaning is avocados are really good because they're nice and mushy. You don't have to really worry about them choking. You want to stay away from grapes. Those are no bueno. Those things can be a choking hazard. When I finally, when I felt like she was ready, it wasn't until after a year, and I would cut them up in 4s. So I didn't have to worry about if she swallowed it whole, it's not gonna choke her. So that's what I was doing when I finally gave her grapes. Bananas are great. I would chop them up into little pieces and she would pick them up. Now I can give her a full-on banana and she just sits there and goes, and it's the cutest thing ever. She loves having her banana every morning. So that is awesome. Sweet potatoes are also really good because they're nice and mushy. They can just kind of feel and pick into them and bring them to their face and just play. Yeah, sweet potatoes are great. Soft cooked apples, I've never done this, but you can soft cook an apple and make it mushy. I am just now introducing apples to her, but what I do is I cut off the skin and I cut them into little pieces, and she just sits there and she loves just picking them little, I make them in the size of little Cheerios where they won't choke her or anything, and they're nice and soft. So she just loves them. We split an apple. I get 4 slices, she gets four little pieces, and I cut them up in little bits, but she loves them. Same thing if you want to introduce meats, if you want to introduce a hot dog to them, what you can do is you can slice it down the middle and peel off the skin, because the skin is a little hard for them to go through, especially if they don't have teeth. So you can do that and give them those little bits too. She loves that. I would mix that also into some of her foods to get that protein. Next up is steamed veggies. She loves carrots. I buy these steamer bags from Ziploc and they're just so great. I'll throw in carrots in them. I'll throw in broccoli together. I'll put a little bit of water and a little bit of veggie seasoning, and I'll put it in the microwave for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Boom, steamed veggies. So quick and easy, no mess, no fuss. I'll have those linked down below for you guys too. But she loves carrots, broccoli's been a hit or a miss lately. She used to love broccoli. She would touch it and devour it like crazy. Now it's some nights she'll eat it and some nights she won't. Meat, so you can do shredded chicken, shredded beef, do all that fun stuff for meat, and then cooked pasta. You can do spaghetti. You can mix it up with a little bit of butter if you don't want them to get that marinara sauce. She was getting a little bit of reaction to the tomato sauce because it is so acidic. So if their skin is sensitive, put some Aquaphor on their cheeks before feeding them, and that will create a barrier between the food and the skin, so their skin won't get so inflamed. So that's another really good tip there. That's one thing I've learned. Okay, so now getting into the question of how often do you feed? So this changes for each age. So 4 to 5 months, you're gonna introduce them once a day. So 5.5 months, we did it in the middle of the day. We did a puree for lunchtime, and she would have her bottles regularly. So you only do a puree once a day. And then about 6 months, you go to 3 times a day. So that's when she was getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we would do the eggs or an oatmeal in the morning, and then we would go into her lunch and then her dinner, which would be a puree, or depending if I was baby-led weaning, then she would get a little bit of our solid food. And then when you start to introduce snacks, I didn't do that until closer to a year, to where she was getting breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And that's how I do it now with her. When I send her to daycare, oh my gosh, I make these little those egg bites that you can get at Starbucks? Well, you can make them at home super easy. All you need is 12 eggs, a half a cup of whipping cream, a cup of mozzarella cheese or any type of cheese that you like, and then you can mix anything into it. You can mix bacon into it, you can mix veggies into it, spinach, all that fun stuff, and all you do is pop it in the oven at 350 for 10 minutes, and you can have them for the week. You just heat them up in the microwave for 40 seconds and you're good to go. So that's what I've been giving her for breakfast this time, is she's getting one of those eggs, and she gets one of those with a banana in the morning. Then she has a veggie pouch that I give her in the middle of the afternoon, or yogurt. And then I do the whole milk yogurt. And then for lunch, it could be anything from mac and cheese to chicken and rice, or a PB&J. She's at a really small daycare, so there's no peanut allergies or anything there, so we're okay for that right now. So I'll give her that, and what I do is I cut off the crust and I cut them in little slices so she can just pick them up and feed them to herself. It just makes it a lot easier. And then for snack time when she comes home, oh, she also has a bottle of milk that goes with her to daycare. So that's about 6 ounces of whole milk that I give her. And then she comes home, we have a little bit of a snack, like some type of fruit, like an apple or whatnot. And then we'll play, she'll go down. She was going down for a nap, but we're in that transitioning period where she needs to just have 1 nap a day now. But if she was having a nap, it was from 3 to 5, and then I would start making dinner, wake her up, and she would have a little bit tiny of a snack just to let me finish dinner, because when she wakes up at 5, whoo, she needs food like ASAP. So I finish making dinner, we all sit down and we eat dinner, and then at 6:30 she has her last bottle, which is 4 to 6 ounces depending on what I think, depending on how much she ate of dinner. If she didn't eat much of dinner, then I'll give her 6 ounces of whole milk to really fill her up. But I'll do that with her, and now I'm putting a probiotic into her milk too for her digestive system. But yeah, so that's our like little routine schedule right there. But you'll kind of work your way up to that. But also with water, this is the last thing to cover, is water. When do you start introducing water? So 4 to 6 months, you don't want to do more than 2 ounces of water a day. You want to keep it minimal. You don't want to give them too much water. It could cause water toxicity. I can never say this. Toxicity. I can never say it, I'm sorry, but you can look it up. So you don't want to give them more than 2 ounces at 4 to 6 months. At 7 months, they can have 2 to 4 ounces. And then at 8 to 12 months, they can have anywhere between 2 to 8 ounces. Now Riley just drinks water as often as she wants. I always give it to her as an option. I don't give her any juice. I'm not a juice person. They don't know any better right now, so why introduce it to them? Keep the sugar away. So she just sticks with water. And then, but also as a heads up, when you start solids, they might start getting constipated. So if you're breastfeeding, make sure you're doing those probiotic drops, those vitamin D drops when you're nursing. Always continue those. And then if they are getting constipated, that's where water really helps. Make sure they're getting a little bit of water, and that will help relieve their constipation. So that's a good thing with water. And then start introducing a cup of water or like a sippy at 6 months, see how they take it, and just keep working with it. Honestly, you'll be surprised. If you give them a straw, you'll be really surprised with how quickly they learn to drink from the straw. It's crazy. That's what Riley does the best with. I love the Zoli cups because it has that weighted straw. So if she goes like this, the straw falls down into the water. So no matter what, she'll always get water. So I'll have those linked down below. I have 2 of them. They are the best cups ever. So highly recommend it. And then also remember, no more bottles after 12 months. If you're not breastfeeding exclusively and you're doing breast milk or formula in a bottle, you want to cut that bottle at 12 months. So start kind of weaning them off of it around 9 to 10 months. It's going to take you a while, but they'll surprise you when one day they'll be like, boom, I'm done with the bottle, give me the sippy. So just start introducing it because it's not good for their teeth. And when they start getting teeth, you want to really start wiping them down, making sure that you're not giving them a bottle to sleep because you don't want them to rot. So that you don't want that tooth decay, which is just not good. So always make sure to be wiping down their teeth before they go to bed every night, and make sure that they do not have a bottle to go to bed, and nix that bottle out at 12 months. But I hope you guys found this stuff helpful. I mean, I kind of went through it pretty quickly. I feel like the video might still be a little long, but I really wanted to make sure I could cover as much stuff as I possibly could for you guys, because I know this time I was so lost. I did not know what to do. I was so lost. I was reading everything. I was asking questions. So hopefully for those of you moms out there that are finding this video, I hope this helps you out with this transition, and good luck with it. Let me know if you guys have any tips or tricks or anything down below, or your experiences, so we can all talk. I love it that we guys can talk over here and learn from each other. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video.